Okay, so just wanted to record some stuff and do a video. Not sure where I'm gonna go with this because I started a video about one thing and I was like, I need to reword some stuff before I upload it, and I wanted to gather my words about that. One of the videos today I watched is a podcast. It's by it's called Girls Stop Playing. She's on YouTube. Not sure if she has like a podcast, like a recording podcast thing, like where you can listen to on the apps, but YouTube, that's where I came across her. So they have a holistic doctor on today for the for like trying to figure out how to heal your body, and she was saying how certain things require us to heal the inside. So before we get into that, let me just say, I do not plan these videos. Usually I'm working or I'm doing something and then a thought pops in my head and then I'm like, oh, that's a good topic. Or I see a video or something and usually it reflects something that I'm dealing with or that I know is somebody else is dealing with and I have an opinion about it. And then, let's see, I said before, I feel like there are times where I cannot hear God's voice, and things that I pray about, I feel like they come to me through other people, whether it's a video, a TV show, somebody in passing. I hear a song that relates to what I'm dealing with. I feel like there are things that God uses to send me messages through. They're a messenger. So one of the things is that I deal with guilt a little bit, well, a lot of guilt actually, but since I started recording these videos, I deal with guilt because I'm like, people are not going to listen to the entire video and then they're going to make up their mind about something before hearing the entire video. Like, I try to post like 30-second pieces from my big video, but then I'm like, okay, you're not hearing the entire message, you're hearing bits and pieces of it, and you're reacting based off of the little bit you heard instead of trying to hear the entire message. So but then I was like, Ash, that's not for me to worry about. I literally said in the beginning, I'm doing these videos for me because I want to heal myself and I want to, in the process, help somebody else if they come across it. That's what I'm trying to do. So I have to remind myself every single time I press record in this video, like, there are going to be people who do not like what you're saying. They don't like how you're doing it. They're not going to understand. It's for them, not for me. If they don't understand it, then they don't gotta fucking read it or watch it. And that's what I really just have to tell myself every single time. Like, Ash, do what you need to do. And if they rock with it, cool. If they don't, then that's fine too. It's your own free will. I'm not trying to hold nobody hostage. I'm not trying to blame anybody. I'm not trying to do anything of that. I just felt like I want to heal myself. And this is the way I choose to do it. So one of the things that the doctor was saying was that you can't heal what you're not willing to unpack. Unpack, excuse me. So, like my pastor said, you can't, it's like you can't heal from what you're not willing to, okay, I'm not gonna say some shit like that, but it's written down somewhere, but you can't heal from something if you're not willing to deal with it. So, a lot of people like to avoid things. They're like, okay, it happened, whatever, avoid it, and they just keep on going. Sometimes it may work for them, sometimes it may not actually be the case because what you're doing is suppressing it. And there could be something later on down the line that could reflect it or could trigger it, and you will respond to a way that it could be out of your character, but you're acting off of something that happened a long time ago that you just chose not to address or deal with, and now 10 years later down the line, you're questioning why are you reacting in a way that's out of your character. So let's see, 2 weeks ago, I was in therapy, and I deal with this a lot. So I have low self-esteem about my looks. I have a list of things that I like, and a longer list of things I do not like. And for a long time, I was projecting my own insecurity onto my partner, thinking that, oh, well, if I was smaller, you would like me. Or if I did X, Y, Z, you would have said, I did all these things. And no matter what they said, like, Ash, you're good, you're fine, you're enough, you're all these beautiful things, I would still be projecting like, no, they're lying, And in therapy a few weeks ago, I was telling my therapist what I don't like. And I was like, I went from the head to toe of what I don't like. And I started saying this. I said, I don't look like my mom. I look like my dad. I said, I start seeing, the older I get, the more features of my father I see. Like, my dad is an overthinker. My dad has anxiety. He has depression. My dad has all these different things. My dad looks a certain way. I feel like I look like my dad. And it scares me, like down to my nails, like down to my hands. Like, I always have to wear nails because I get my nails done because I feel like I don't like my hands without my nails done. And I kept saying I look like my dad more often, like quite a bit, to where she was like, why does that bother you? And she was like, why does looking like your father bother you? She asked me, she said, when you were growing up, did anybody say anything about your dad's looks that made you feel like if you look like your dad, you would be ugly? And I said, no, there was nothing about his looks that was brought up. I said there was things about how my dad acted, as far as like him overthinking and the depression part. And I'm like, my mom will always say, like, when I started showing those signs of me being depressed at a very young age, and I would talk down about myself a lot. And she will always say, that's that Jones side of you coming out. That's your daddy side coming out. And I didn't realize that as an issue, like, until the older I got, to where I started seeing things and saying things. I'm like, I sound like my dad. And it would annoy me. And I never thought about getting help when I was younger, because I would just get irritated, like I'm like my dad. And I would get so irritated. And then so my therapist asked me, she was like, was your dad there for you growing up? No. I said, my dad came and went. And it's not a lie. Like, anything I say on this video, I'm just going to say, like, I'm not lying about it. Like, did it happen? Yes. Did it suck? Yes. I'm not lying about it. It's my truth. So, people may get offended because I'm saying certain things, but at the end of the day, am I lying? Am I being disrespectful? No, I'm not. I'm going through a phase, or I'm going through things where I'm trying to heal, and I'm trying to take the accountability and fix myself, so that when I do have kids, or when kids come around me, I'm not pouring out this onto them. So I'm not lying. Like, did it happen? Yes, it happened. Is it shit? It happened. Like, I'm not going to allow myself to be like, be shamed because I'm speaking on something that happened and you don't like what I'm saying. I'm not saying that my dad is a bad person. I'm not saying that I hate my dad. I'm not saying any of that. Good people do bad shit. Bad things happen to good people. I'm not saying anything about that. What I'm saying is that, no, he was not there with me growing up. That's the honest truth. So are you mad because I'm saying it, I'm acknowledging it, or are you mad that you weren't there? Let me know. So she said, well, she asked, was your dad there for you growing up? No, he wasn't. My dad came and went. It was a revolving door. My dad is a Rolling Stone. My dad likes to have multiple company. So, no, he wasn't there. And the more, as I grew up, the more he started coming around. Like as I was getting older, he started coming around. But as a child, my dad was not there. I saw my dad roughly 3 to 4 times a year. And I didn't have a number to contact him directly. I had a pager to contact him. I had to call my grandfather to get in touch with him. Those are the 2 ways. Or when I was younger, my mom would go by his job and we would go and say hi. But that would be it. You know, my dad was not there consistently. He may drive by and stop by and say hi, but that was it. I'm not lying about that. I mean, it is what it is. So she said that the times that he did come, how did I feel when he came? At the beginning, like leading up to the days, I felt really excited to see my dad because I ain't seen you in like, you know, a few months. So I used to get excited to see my dad when he would come. By the time we were together and I was exhausted, ready to come back home, like, okay, let's just get this shit over with. I want to go back home. And from somebody on the outside looking in would be like, Ashley, that's not right to say. But let me just finish it. My dad did kind of get me. We used to go to this thing. It was a definite thing for every year we were going to go to the IX Center. We went to the IX Center, and it's at the indoor amusement park that it would come in Ohio. I'm not sure if it would come anywhere else in the States, but it's like this indoor amusement park that would come around spring break. My dad would take me. We would have a day there. So people would see that my dad was coming to get me, but behind closed doors, you didn't know that by the time that I got in the car with my dad, before we can even pull off, my dad would run down every car on the street and point out and see and ask me whose car is that, because he was worried about if my mom's boyfriend was in the house. So my dad will always be questioning about, well, who car is that? Who car is that? Who car is that? Literally every car on the street, he would have me point out he would ask me who this car belonged to, because he was worried about who was in the house with my mom. So that would be one thing. Then it would be like, my dad's in the band. My dad loves rock and roll. He will always be playing his music on the radio. Like he would have a CD. He was always playing his CDs or his music, which wasn't bad. But he would always make me like point out every time I heard an instrument, like who was this playing, who was this playing, make sure I heard the bass, because he plays a bass guitar. So he would be asking me like, who's, like he would point out to me like, that's me playing, that's my guitar. Okay. Always listen to what his dreams. Oops, shit. Okay. Always listen to what his dreams would be about him playing his band. I mean, that's fine, because you're sharing your passion with me. And then he had a thing about Monte Carlos. He would point out which Monte Carlo he was buying next, or we would go to the guitar store, or he would be showing me like, you know, all these guitars that he wants that was like thousands of dollars. And then you tell me how he's paying for them out of pocket. Okay. Then it came to, why doesn't your mother want me? Why is she with him and not me? You know, don't you want us to be together? Or you should be, you know, we don't want us to be a family. We should be together. We should do all these things. And Why does she love me? Why doesn't she want me to be with her? Why don't you want me to be with your mom? Why don't? And I'm like, damn, I'm like 5 or 6 years old hearing this. I'm like, I don't know. I want her to be happy. I want you to be happy. You know, that's not my job to tell her who to date. I'm this young. But that was every single visit was like that. Every time. So by the time, like, it was never me and you, Ashley, you know, about our relationship. My dad didn't even know my favorite color until I was like in the late teens, early 20s. And it was like things about me you don't even know, because you never really tried to even experience that with me. You was trying to question me, interrogate me about my mother and why she didn't want to be with you, or why y'all can be together. Like, I'm the one who's choosing y'all to date or not. So basically, back when I said, I used to get exhausted, and I didn't enjoy time. And it came to me because I was home with my friends after therapy, and I was with my friends. I was in Walmart, and I was just reflecting on what I went through, what it's talked about in therapy. And I said, the first man in my life was my father, and the first man in my life showed me that he didn't want me. And I say this because you weren't there when I was born, number one. You weren't there consistently with me growing up. When you did come around, if you kept your word, if you did come around, the times that we spent together was you questioning me about my mother and why she didn't want you. Why is she with somebody else and not you? When we were together, you showed me all these cars that you wanted to get, and you wanted to buy out of pocket. How you gonna buy this next car out of pocket? You showed me, you talked about your band and your dreams. It was never about me and you. It's a lot of things about that I can really go down the rabbit hole with. But I realized that the first man in my life didn't want me, and he didn't show that he wanted me. Through the times that I needed a man to really step in to help navigate that part of my life, I didn't have that. And noticing that I look like the man who didn't want me. And I'm sitting here trying to change everything about my physical appearance, because I'm just like, no matter what my tattoos, piercings, clothing wise, I'm trying to dress the image or the outside of me. I'm trying to change that, because I'm trying to, even with makeup, I hate wearing makeup, but I try to wear makeup because I'm trying to change features that I still see. And unfortunately, it's because it's my dad. I look like the person who did not want me. So with that, I just had like an epiphany, maybe, I don't know. But it's crazy because I was like, granted, my stepdad came in my life when I was 2. That's a different subject, but consistently, he was there as I got older. But even my stepdad, I was like, you didn't come into my mother's life like, I want to be this child's father, or I want to take on this fatherly role. It was, I'm dating your mother, like I'm dating you, and I see you're a single mother, and you're struggling in certain parts. I'm going to help you. It wasn't like, I want to be a part of this child's life, I want to help raise this child. It's more like, I want to be with you, and I know that your child is a +1 deal, so she's going to come along with what I want, so I'm going to deal with it. My stepfather and I never had that father-daughter relationship type. It didn't happen. Like, my mother tried to do certain things, so my stepdad and I went to a dinner, It was the Spaghetti House in Cleveland. And my mom made us dress alike. We both had wore khakis and cream colored sweaters. It was just me and him to dinner. But someone else on the outside would be like, oh, that's so sweet, that's so nice. But I heard my mother suggesting it to him, like pushing for it. It wasn't him saying, I want to hang out with Ashley. It wasn't that. So I was a +1 package deal with my mom. Am I grateful for him still stepping in like that? Yes, of course I am. I'm just saying that there are some men that come that can see a woman and they don't date them. They're like, you know what? I want to be a part of this child's life. I want to do these things. There are some men that'll be like, well, I want you. I know that's a +1 deal. I'm just going to deal with it. And that's what it was. I'm not lying. I mean, it's the truth. It may hurt. It may not sound great coming out, but it still happened. So, the second man in my life who stepped in as a father, stepped in as that role, still didn't make me feel like I was wanted. Like, I used to try to call him dad when I was younger, and he would ignore me or say that he didn't want me to call him dad. They got married when I was 23. And even after they got married, I still wasn't even, he had a hard time acknowledging me as a daughter. And it took to where my mom was pushing him, like, you know, she's your daughter. Even after there was a funeral after they had been married. They've been married for a while. And my uncle had just gotten married and has stepdaughters. And my uncle introduced his stepdaughter as his daughter. He said, this is my daughter. When they introduced me, it was, this is Dolly's daughter. Not Dolly and her husband's daughter. This is Dolly's daughter. And then when we would go to my stepdad's family events, and he would introduce me, it would be like, that's Dolly's daughter. So even then, like, you've been in my life for 20+ years, you're still not even acknowledging me as your daughter, which in result makes me feel like you didn't want me. I'm not lying. Like, I mean, if you want, and this is your daughter, you're going to say this is your daughter. This is Dolly's daughter. Okay. So the second man in my life made me feel like I wasn't wanted. I was just like, was like an obligation. So that's what it was. Again, it sounds nasty coming out, but it's the fact that that's what it is. You didn't really try to start creating a relationship with me as your daughter until my mom died, because it was like, she needs a parent. And even then, now it's like, whenever you try to do something for me or be there for me, you always say, well, I promised your mother. So even then, it's like, you're not really trying to do stuff with me because you want to. It's because you made a promise to my mother. So your loyalty and your promise is with my mom. It's not about, well, I want to be a father to you now because you need one. It's because I promised your mother. So it's not about me and you. So it's always about you and my mom. So while I still am appreciative, I don't, when you say these things, it's like, okay, well, why are you doing it? Are you doing it for me or for my mom? Because she's not here. What are you doing it for? And that's the part that gets to me. So I noticed that all of these decisions I have made with not just men in my life, like men that I dated or dealt with, people I used to call friends too. I have made, this is me taking accountability of my actions. When it says you can't heal from what you're not willing to go through or unpack, I gotta unpack it so that I can heal from it, because I'm not blaming anybody. I'm saying that I did these things. I'm noticing that the pattern that I have been making, where it stems from. So that was the other thing I was thinking about, that I wrote down, is that learn to forgive when you don't receive an apology. That's one of them. The other thing is, you may not have caused the pain, but it is your job to heal from the pain. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I may not have caused certain things that happened to me, but I can heal from it. And for me to heal from it, I gotta address it. And I do these videos because you may not be able to go to that direct person and say, you hurt me, you did this, and I want an apology. You may not be able to say that. You may not even be able to go to the person and say, you know what, hey, this what happened. I don't like how it happened. It made me feel some kind of way, and we can talk about it. Sometimes you can go to that person and say, let's talk about it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes the person is not willing to talk about it because they got over it, or they just didn't think that they did anything wrong. And they may not have thought they did anything wrong. They could say, I did my best, and take it how you want it. So even though somebody may have hurt you in the past, you have to take the accountability, or take the step to say, I didn't cause this pain, but I'm going to heal from this pain, because I'm not going to carry this on me any longer. And that's where it really hit me this year. Like, I am a very angry person. I had realized that I am so angry that I hold stuff in, I bottle stuff in, and I try to keep on a happy face and be positive for other people and be supportive of the people when I'm literally like imploding on the inside, like where I'm growing knots in my stomach because I am like sick from holding in so much, because I don't want to ruffle any feathers, and I can't go to certain people to say, this happened, I don't like this, let's work past it, because some people just get defensive, and that's okay for them to get defensive. So for me, it's like, it's not for anybody to try to heal any wounds of mine. It's not for anybody to try to come and rescue me. It's not for anybody to try to, if anything, you want to say sorry, we can say sorry and we can move forward. We can. If not, then that's fine. I have to forgive so that I can let it go and I can move on with my life. It's not for nobody else. And that's what we have to learn to do. So, yeah, so I basically said, like, I realized that because my thing came to me, if your own father doesn't want you around or doesn't want you, these men are going to want you. So if you need to bend over backwards, do cartwheels, extend yourself, do things that degrades you, do things that affects you in more negative ways. A lot of things that I've done was because I'm like, well, if I do this or let this happen, they'll stay, or they'll want me to stay. Because I was always just trying to, if my dad didn't want me, then why would you want me? So let me just try to extend myself to do more and more and more for you, so that you will want me. And I realized that it took me 35 years to understand that. It took me up until all of, like I said, 2 weeks ago, to understand that the things that I have allowed myself to go through was because of me trying to find acceptance with somebody, for someone to want me, somebody to appreciate me. Like, I'm a good person. I'm a damn good person. I'm a good person. I'm funny. I'm friendly. I'm reliable. I'm strong. I'm smart. I got all these great qualities in me, but I didn't think that was enough, because the person who helped create you, to help bring you into this world, didn't want me. Like, from the start, you didn't want me. And if you did, you had a hell of a way of showing it. So I was like, it was just like a breakdown, because even with friends, like in school, like I tried to just overdo it to feel accepted. Like, instead of just being me, just being Ashley, and maybe that is Ashley, because the things you go through make who you are. Like, you're not your problem, but when you go through something, like it's like this, it's like a meme on Facebook where it shows like little cubs. It says, before you go to the prayer room, and you're going to the prayer room, and then we leave the prayer room, you're like a lioness or a lion. And I feel like every experience you're going to go through is going to change who you are. Whether it make you for a better person or a worse person, it's going to change you. So it could be that this person who overextended herself and allowed certain things to happen and go through certain things is because of what I've been through. Now, going through counseling or therapy, I'm going in a certain way, and then when I'm addressing things and unpacking things, I'm coming out a different person. Like, this is a whole new me, like, because we're not doing this anymore. And I'm okay with saying that now, because one of the other things I was saying is the blame game and taking accountability. We're always blaming somebody for what that person did. Do they need to take accountability for what they did? Yes, absolutely. But we also need to take accountability for what we did in that part. So I can say, like, yes, as a child, you may not have the ability to recognize certain things as wrong or right, or you may not be able to speak on certain things because you're a child versus an adult. Some things you can, some things you cannot. But if you're going to go through life constantly placing blame on everybody else except for what you're doing, then you're never going to grow in life. You're never going to grow the life. You're never going to learn anything, because it's always like, well, it's their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. What was that? I know, like, as a child, I heard the thing was like, when you point one finger at somebody, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you. If it's like 1 and then 1, 2, 3 pointing back at you, or there's 4. But we always we don't take accountability for what we did, but what somebody else did. And there can be times where you are not going to get an apology for what that person did to you. So we have to move forward. And moving forward is like, okay, my part in this was that I didn't set any boundaries with this person. My part in this was that, yes, he cheated on me 3 or 4 times, but I still stayed there with him. So I showed him that it's okay to still cheat on me. He hit me and I did this, or she said this and I replied this way. I did this. You're giving that person so much control over you that it's like, you got to take your power back. And so, yes, like, there are times where I have been in fights, and the last fight that I was in, I was like, you know what, I'm walking away. I'm not going to participate in this, because it's not even worth it for me at this point. Because one, the person is responding out of ignorance and out of anger and out of a hurt place, because they can't take accountability of their own actions. So why am I going to risk myself breaking a nail, messing my hair up, put myself in a bad mood because they pissed off? I'm not going to do that. Like, people hurt people. And I'm not going to allow that. So it's like everybody's want to play the blame game. Like, oh, well, this person said this to me, so I did this and I did. You have a choice of how you're going to respond. Like me, I said in a few videos before that I feel like I avoid certain things because I know how far I can go. And I feel like that's pretty big of me, because when you know how to walk away sometimes, or because you're choosing to walk away, because I know that if I choose to let this side of me out, it can go a whole different way. And my accountability in this is like, you know what, I'm not going this far with you. I'm walking away. I'm going home and stay in my own peace. Let you deal with your foolishness right here and deal with it, because I ain't dealing with it. That's me taking accountability, because on how I respond, I control how I respond. So if somebody's ready to fight, they can do, I would say for all means, protect yourself, which if you can't walk away, walk away. But if you got to defend yourself, go ahead and defend yourself. But what I'm saying from there is that we always want to play a blame game, but not take accountability for our actions. So I chose to walk away and keep my peace. I could have gone into the fight and gone to a deep, dark place, but I'm like, what does that benefit me? How does it benefit Ashley? Because that's not who I am. And I don't want to go to a certain place. So I walked away and was fine doing so. But I was realizing that we often play the blame game. So while I'm saying that, yes, from the beginning, the two men in my life may have affected how I did things, that I still chose to do these things. I still chose to give money when I know that I needed that money, or when I know they're just using me for money, or I chose to turn a blind eye to this man cheating on me left and right. I chose to forgive them, and after all these things they did to me, to show that like they're not sorry for what they did. Like they're 5 sorries for the exact same thing. Was like, okay, first 1-2 times is like a mistake, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, those are choices. So you're choosing to disrespect me. But then I'm choosing to allow this person to disrespect me because I'm not setting up the boundaries. I'm not saying, you know what, this is it, I'm done. So we don't take accountability for a lot of things. Because while it may be hard to walk away sometime, if you're choosing to stay there, you're choosing to be in the situation. Like my mom told me a long time ago, she says, when you're tired, you're going to know you're tired. When you're tired of being this, when you're tired of doing this, you're tired of doing that, when you're tired, you're going to know. No one else can tell you you're tired, stop. They can try to help you, like, hey, you're going off this path. If you keep going this way, you're going to go this way. You can try to talk to somebody about it, but they're choosing to still do it. You can, like I said, you can lead a camel to water, but you cannot force it to drink it. You can take somebody and suggest them to therapy, but you can't make them sit there and talk about their stuff in therapy. You can take you can take somebody to the gym and they can just sit there. Like, you cannot force somebody to work out. You have to take accountability for yourself. So I said this on my Facebook the other day because I was like, so what are you going to do about it? That's what I was just asking myself. I was saying this to myself, and I heard my inner voice say, so what are we going to do about it? Meaning, taking accountability and taking action. So I was saying how I'm tired of, and let me just give some examples. I'm tired of being broke. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? Are you going to get a second job? Are you going to cut expenses? Are you going to call and make payment arrangements? Are you going to create a budget? Are you going to, volunteer for overtime? Are you going to try to cut some stuff out? What are you going to do about it? Or are we just going to sit here and keep complaining that we're tired of being broke, but we're not doing anything about it? Because you can pray and pray and pray, God, I need more money. I need more money. I need more money. I need this to happen. But faith without works is dead. So it's not saying I'm going to just pray about to God to say, God, send me some more money, and I'm just going to sit here and wait for money. But when your job sends an email saying, hey, can you stay for overtime? Or we got an extra shift available, or something that's like, or like you get like a job offer for like you may walk past like a part-time job that fits within your schedule to work. Well, that could be God giving you all the resources you need, so you can, like, you're praying for it. You're asking for more money, so God's giving you opportunities to make more money. But it's not coming in the way that you want it to come in, so you're just like, oh, I don't want to work. So you want to make more money, but not put in the work for it. The other thing was like, oh, I want to lose weight. I'm so tired of being fat. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? Are you going to see a nutritionist? Are you going to go to your doctor and ask for, a nutritionist or ask your doctor for like a health plan, like a eating plan, or are you going to go to YouTube and look for different people who will help you to workout plans, food planning plans, meal prep plans, grocery plans, counting calories, all these things? Are you going to go to the gym? Are you going to go for a walk? Are you going to change how you eat? Like, what are you going to do about it? You're tired of this, but what are you going to do about it? Another thing was like, I'm tired of, let's see, or just anything. Like, we keep saying what we're so tired of, but are you going to take the steps needed to make the change? What are you going to do about it? I said, I'm tired of being depressed. I'm tired of feeling the weight on me. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of putting on a brave face when I know that I'm dying on the inside. I'm tired of being there for other people, and while I'm dealing with my own shit breaking down the inside. I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of feeling angry about certain things. I'm tired of feeling like triggered so often. I'm tired of shutting down. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. And so I'm like, what are you gonna do about it? I finally went to therapy. Like, for a long time I kept saying, I need therapy, I need therapy, I need therapy. And like I said, my job offered this thing where you can do 10 free visits at a therapist. They give you, like I said, they give you a list of therapists in your area. You pick and choose who you want to go to. You go there, you go to them, and you figure it out. And it's not figure it out. You go to that therapy, try it. You get 10 free visits. If you don't like the therapist, you can go to somebody else and get 9 free visits. You can go to multiple therapy sessions. Granted, luckily, my plan allows me to have therapy for free. Not everybody has that. I get it. But I'm saying, for me, I was tired of feeling this way, doing these things. Like, I had weight loss surgery, but I wasn't losing weight because I was still doing the same shit I was doing before I had my surgery, and not realizing that all these triggers beforehand didn't get addressed until after my surgery. So if I'm still playing the old way of eating and doing things, when I got a new stomach, nothing is going to change. Just the fact that you're going to get sick now as you eat. You can't have certain things anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about taking accountability and a lot of things that you're doing, because at the end of the day, it's up to you to fix it. Like, so like I said about my dad, like, I love my dad. I do love my dad. Do I realize that I am very angry with my dad? Of course. Yeah, I am very, 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 very angry with my dad. People will say, well, just let it go. And there's times where I feel like, you know what, if my dad came to me and said, you know what, Ash, I did not do X, Y, Z, or I was not there, like I said I was going to be there for whatever, but I'm here now, let's move forward with the time we have now. I'd be getting called for it, like, okay, cool, let's move forward. But if every time you call me and you're bringing up the past of what my mother did, my grandmother did, my aunt did, not one time you take accountability for what you did, it was always blaming somebody else for something, then I'm going to respond like, okay, but what did you do? So it's like, you choose how you want this conversation to go. Do you want us to move forward and just forget all in the past? Cool, I'm good with that. Or do you want to keep bringing up the past and not talk about it? Because I'm going to tell you, well, what did you do? And that was the issue that I had. Like, my issues that I have right now is that I can't go to my dad and say X, Y, Z happened, or you did this, and in return I felt this way. Because again, like I said, you may not be able to go to that person who hurt you to address it. So you may not get closure from that person. So you have to take the steps and action of fixing it yourself. Like, I know that we can't we can't go and we can't have this conversation because you're not ready to have this conversation with me. And I can't keep holding on to this because it's literally affecting how I see my partner, how I treat my partner, how I treat men in my life, friends, because I'm thinking that if I don't say yes to every single thing, A from A to Z, Z to A, you're going to leave me. If I don't just be totally submissive, I'm like, whatever you want to do, just do it. I don't care. You're going to leave me. And that's the person I am. And I'm like, I have to, for me to heal, I need to let it go. I need to address it and let it go. And so that's what, oh shit. That's what, I need to give me a little lamp. That's what I need to do. And that's what I am doing. I am trying to let go, heal from it, and release it. Because, you know, we all die. I'm not saying no one's close to death right now. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying there's people who have things that they hold on to. And they all say, well, I'm going to address it with them later. But then a person dies and then you can address it with them. There's things that people have gone through with people who may have sexually abused them, mentally abused them, physically abused them, and they're still holding on to it because they're waiting for an apology from that person. But that person is dead and gone or disappeared or whatever. We have to figure out on our own to take back your power and be like, you know what, this happened. I didn't deserve it. I'm not going to let that person change who I am or make me who I am. I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to take that step to being a better person. I'm going to heal myself because when I have a little Ashley, a little whoever, I'm not going to pour my negativity or my jadedness or whatever onto them because I'm a bitter Betty. I'm not doing that. So I had to let it go. Like, you know what? Yes, I realized that, damn, I look like the person who rejected me my entire life. And even now, it's like sometimes I talk to my dad, it's not about me and him. It's all about his issues. And then I'm like, well, how can I fix your issues? And it's not fair. And I had to tell myself to step back, like, okay, Ashley, you can't extend yourself to this extent. You can do whatever you can do it and let it be enough for you. Not like I'm going to try to break up with my boyfriend because I'm going to move back to Cleveland to be a nurse to somebody and who again wasn't there for me when I was growing up. I'm not going to go to the extreme length I was thinking about, like I'm going to be there for them through XYZ, and I'm going to do what I can, but I'm not going to overextend myself or to an exhaustion to make you happy. I'm not doing that. And I realized that I'm not doing that with anybody else anymore. Like, I'm not going to keep extending myself to pure exhaustion, mental exhaustion, because I feel like if I say no, they're gonna be pissed at me. Or if they get mad, they get mad. Like, you just gotta understand that if they get mad, they get mad. But you gotta do it for yourself. You take accountability for you, do what you can, and go. And that's the place that I've reached because I was just so worried, like, if I say no, I can't go here, or no, I don't want to go here, they're going to feel this way, or they're going to do this right here. No, I can't do it. And that's going to be it. If I could, I would. So, no longer playing the blame game. We got to take accountability for our own actions. Let's see. Yeah, it's so much that I was reading today that I'm just going to I was reading, I was listening to, and that was the one thing that really got to me, was when she says willing to do the work. And you can't heal what you're not willing to unpack. Because a lot of people go through life like they just avoid stuff and they don't want to unpack it. They don't want to deal with it. They just feel like, all right, let's just move on. And again, it can work for you, but for me, I've done it and it hasn't worked. It's really caused me to become a resentful person. Not a bitter person, but resentful, very angry, triggerable, I guess you say that's a word, because it's, I allow myself to get to a place where certain things would just make me upset. And I'm like, why are you upset, Ashley? And I realized that half the things that I'm upset about is because I'm upset with myself for not creating boundaries and not realizing what boundaries were. Because I always thought that as long as you're saying yes, got a smile on your face, being that perfect peppy patty to somebody, you're doing things the right way. As long as you're saying yes and doing stuff and making people happy and being there for everybody, I thought that that was what you're supposed to do. When reality is, yes, you want to be a good person and do for other people, but you need to know when to pour into yourself and when to say stop. Because as long as you're saying yes, they're going to keep taking. And I'm like, I can blame all my exes for something, but at the end of the day, I allowed most of this shit to happen. And I chose to stay. And I chose to let things happen and things, and it's not their fault, because my thing is a buffet. And when you go to a buffet, they don't put a limit on the food. You're going to keep going back and forth for more because it's free. They're telling you, hey, come take something. They didn't put any boundaries on it. So if you're a person, like a buffet as a person, or a person as a buffet, and people see that you're just wanting to give and give and give with no cutoff, nobody's going to stop and say, no, let her have some more for herself. It's going to be like, oh, well, she's giving for free, let me just take it. And so you got to know when to put a cap on that, when to put a pause on it, when to say, oh, nope, no more, we're done. So that was the other thing I was thinking about. It says, why are you mad? Are you mad at them for what they did? I can't speak. Or are you mad for what you allowed them to do? Did you set boundaries? Did you allow them to slide? Did you turn a blind eye to certain things? What are you mad about? Because we can still say, yes, we're mad about them for what they did, but you got 1, 2, 3 fingers or 4 pointing back at you, like, what did you do in this time? Like, if you're going to keep allowing this person to disrespect you and not speak on it and say anything, they're going to think it's okay. If you're going to keep fighting somebody, they're going to, it's like you have to take accountability for your actions. So while you can definitely say, yes, this person did X, Y, Z, not saying that they're wrong for doing it, because you know right from wrong. I'm pretty sure we're all adults and we know right from wrong. But if you keep doing something and then they keep allowing you to do it, you're giving them the message that it's okay to keep doing it. Now, if you are doing something, if they're doing something, and you say, no, I don't like this, I don't want this, don't do this, cool. If they continue to do it, what are you doing? Are you saying, all right, I gave you a warning, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. When they do that again, strike 3, they're going to keep doing it until you make a change about it. Whether it is leaving, whether it is like shutting down, whether it is like, nope, taking it away from them. Like, when you have children and you tell them to do certain things and they're not listening to you, but when you say, okay, you're not listening to me, let me show you. I guess you better I can tell you. It's the same thing in life. Like, you're creating boundaries for them as children, so why not do the same thing as for adults? You have the right to have your own boundary. And I didn't think that. I did not know that creating boundaries was not a bad thing. I thought creating boundaries and saying no was just me being, was just like, oh, she's being selfish. She's just being this bad person. But no, I'm not. I'm still the same person. I still like to do these things for you. It's just that I have my limits. I'm human too, just like you. So, that was another thing. Like, again, taking accountability, because you can only control what you can control to an extent what happens to you. You can control your actions. And like I said before, I said how I feel like, you know, there's a person inside of me that is banging in the cage to get let out. Well, yeah, I think we all have the kind of person in us, but at the same time, I'm choosing to let this person, like, you know what, we good, we ain't gotta go that far. And it's just about being accountable for your actions and realizing that, you know what, I'm not gonna let this person take me there. Like, if you know a person triggers you and you can't be around certain people, why go and be around these people? Why? If you know this person is going to piss you off within 30 minutes, why are you there 35 minutes? By 25 minutes, you should be like, all right, wrap it up. It's time for me to go, and let's go on our own way. Why? If this person texts you something stupid, why do you reply? Just ignore it, delete it, block it. Blocking has gotten so... Blocking has become a good friend of mine, because if I give you a warning and say, I don't like this, don't talk to me this way, I don't do this, and you're going to continue to do it, I'm blocking. I'm not even entertaining these conversations anymore, because for what? I'm giving you a boundary and you're choosing to disrespect me. So you're choosing to cross that boundary, you're choosing to disrespect me. So really, I don't mean shit to you, so we can just block it right now and call it quits. So having boundaries is not a bad thing. And I will say this too. Can't nobody tell you what your boundary is but you. Because your boundary may be a lot, I won't say a lot stricter or more stricter or higher than mine. Like, my patience level may be a lot higher than somebody else's. Your boundary may be a little bit wider or more narrow or smaller than what the next person would be. Like, someone could say to me, Ashley, I don't like when they do XYZ to you or say these things to you. Well, maybe for me, certain things that's being said, I don't faze me, or it's not bothering me to that extent that it's bothering you. That's your boundary. That's not mine. Someone would say for me, or I could say to them, like, girl, I don't know about that. That would be a no for me. You should leave them. No, I'm not with them. You with them. You choose to be with this person, so you choose how you're going to handle it. Not for me. But I'm just saying, it's like we have to, man, take accountability and take for our actions. You know, why are you mad? Before you react, why are you mad? Are you mad because of what they said wasn't what you want to hear, or is it you don't want to take accountability for it? Why are you mad? Because how you respond is like, well, they made me fight them. No, they didn't make you do anything. You chose to fight this person. You chose to walk away. They didn't make you do anything. They did not grab your hands and hit themselves with it. You chose to respond the way you chose to. So that was something else I had thought about. Just learning to heal.